Chapter 15, Hannah. Keys in hand, I walk into my new house. I turn, smiling at Key and James. I'm going to check out the area and ensure the house is clear, James announces. I roll my eyes. I want to enjoy my new place momentarily before worrying about whether I'm safe here. Key, come with me to the sunroom. I excitedly grab her hand. This is why I got this place. The sunroom is the best. I gaze around and can envision where everything will go. I already know this will be my favorite place to decompress at the end of the day. I can't wait to move everything in and settle in here. It's great, right? I say to Key. It's pretty great. And the backyard has excellent coverage. The trees make it hard for someone to get a clear line of sight on you. Key, please. Just for a moment, let's enjoy the house and not think about security. I plead with her, turning and surveying the sunroom. All right, Hannah, I can do that. The house is beautiful, but the sunroom is definitely the highlight. Yes, that's more like it. I hug Key. She's a fantastic person. The bonus is that she's a badass bodyguard. The more she relaxes and shows her personality, the more I fall in love with her. She's become more than a bodyguard somewhere along the line, and I'm starting to really enjoy having her around. When will the movers be here? James asks from the doorway. Neither of us heard him coming up behind us. I tighten my grip on Key and move behind her, surprised by his voice. My heart flutters with fear, and I feel myself start to shake. Despite my efforts to live like nothing is happening, I've become more fearful. It's all right. It's just James, Key says softly, patting my arm in a comforting motion she's taken on in the last couple of weeks. Gruffly apologizing, James regards us expectantly. They'll be here in the next 2 days. Okay, Key and I must verify the moving company and their employees. Can you share their information with us so we can start on that today? Yes, I'll text you the moving company information, including their website and number, so you can do what you need to do. Key and James both nod approvingly. I'm beginning to realize the severity of what's happening and that I'm in danger, so it's nice having them around. I hate that I've come to rely on them, though. Don't forget you still owe Key and me a copy of your work schedule. We need to start planning your days and ensuring coverage for you, even at the hospital. It should always be Key and me, but just in case something happens, we want to make sure that our backup know what's happening. James, has anyone ever told you know how to kill the vibe? Key laughs at my comment, and James has the dignity to look slightly insulted. However, I think he's proud of this fact. Oh, Cassie's coming over soon. She's bringing some goodies so we can celebrate closing on the house. That's not an issue, is it? Nothing is ever an issue, Hannah. We need to know what and when so we can be prepared. Key gently reprimands me. You're right. Sorry, guys. I appreciate you. I really do. I just get caught up in the fact that I don't feel like I have control over my life. I don't feel safe anymore, and it's really doing a number on me. It's understandable, James says. He's a man of few words, and I keep waiting for him to open up more, but I'm beginning to think that this is maybe all I should expect from him. I find it interesting that he and Key are partners. They are complete opposites. Perhaps that's why their partnership works so well. The doorbell breaks the silence between us, and I walk to the front door without giving it any thought. Wait, James will get the door. You and I will stay back here. Key grabs my arm to keep me from moving forward. Right. Sorry. I give her a tight smile and resign myself to waiting. James disappears down the empty hallway and to the front door, returning shortly with Cassie behind him. Cassie is talking his ear off, and I can almost see him dying a little on the inside with every word she says. Poor James. Oh, Hannah, wow, you missed a hell of a night at the ER, Cassie exclaims, coming into the sunroom. Really? What happened? Let's get the champagne flowing first, and then I'll tell you all about it. I brought glasses as well. I figured you wouldn't have anything moved in yet. Should we sit on the floor of your beautiful new sunroom? A huge smile breaks across my face as I nod and we sit down. Cassie is well prepared. She brought champagne, glasses, and some snacks for us. James and Key wander out of the room as we sit down chatting quietly. Okay, tell me more about what happened. Well, this patient came in with a knife wound on their face. It was a super nasty cut down the left side of their face, and it was pretty intense. They lost a lot of blood, but insisted on leaving that night. Against recommendation, of course. It was wild. Wow. Sounds like an interesting case. I wonder how they got the wound. She wouldn't say, but she's obviously been roughed up a bit. It was pretty interesting and super intense. She didn't even wait for the police to show up, just up and left when we were finished patching her up. Dang, I hope she's okay. Me too. But enough about work. Tell me more about your plans for this room. Sipping on my champagne, I tell Cassie about the rug and chairs I plan to bring into the room and how excited I am to move everything in and start living in the new space. I'm excited to move in, but sad that I'll leave my apartment. Do you think you'll be safer here? I mean, it's unlikely that whoever is stalking you will know you moved, right? I don't know. Key and James seem to think it will be the same level of risk. At least living in a house, there are fewer people to worry about than in an apartment complex. So I guess that's a good thing. Maybe things will start to chill out a bit. How's your dad's investigation going? I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Marshall since the initial phone call. I think he checks in with Key and James, which is fine. I prefer it that way, but I'd still like to know when I can return to living my life. Nodding and understanding, Cassie leans her head on my shoulder and hugs me. I'm glad they're here to watch out for you. Smiling, I hug her back and take another sip of my champagne. Sighing, I turn in a slow circle, taking in the summer and letting the peacefulness of this new place wash over me. This is the perfect place to start the next chapter of my life. Chapter 16, Gray. What the fuck happened to your face? Marcus booms across the empty club. I duck my head as if I could hide it from anyone. Not here, man. I grab his arm and lead him over to one of the darker corners of the club. Jesus Christ, Gray, let me see ya. He reaches up to grab my chin and I immediately flash back to how Kira held me in place while cutting my face, flinching away from his hand. It's fine, I say shakily. It's not fine, Gray. Fuck. He hisses as he examines the cut. Seriously, are you okay? Yes. I went to the hospital and they stitched me up, gave me a tetanus shot and antibiotics. There's not much else they can do. The rest is up to me to keep it clean and closed. Who did this? He asks, taking note of what's going on around the club. Who the fuck do you think, Marcus? Kira and Dimitri had a point to prove regarding company relationships. Swearing under his breath, he turns as if he's going to march up to Dimitri's office. Grabbing for his arm, I turn him. I feel a bit of panic and hear it in my rising voice. Listen, you and I both know we can't do a fucking thing about Dimitri. We need to stay in Dimitri's good graces. And I've already rocked the boat enough. Let's just forget about this and keep going and keep getting on as we have been. We can't lose our jobs here. Marcus pauses and looks at me. Really looks at me. You're right. I'm just in shock, I guess. I should have been there for you. We're partners. I should have been there. He drops one of his massive hands on my shoulder, and I grasp his forearm. It's probably for the best that you weren't, and I'll be fine. We have to put this behind us and keep on Dimitri's good side. Marcus nods. Let's get the others and get this meeting over with. I'll be taking the lead for the teams for a bit. Are you good with that? Yeah, that sounds perfect. I need to lay low for a while. I whisper as we leave the shadows and prepare to be immersed in midnight. I have to stay out of Dimitri and Kira's sight and keep my head down. Marcus and I both do. We know now that a tiny mistake can result in a heavy punishment. End of prequel Before We Fall. The story continues in book 1 of the Fall trilogy, Fall into Midnight. Thanks for listening.